What's up, everybody? Everyone's really excited for this new wall break mechanic, including me. It's really exciting. I definitely think the game could use a new core gameplay mechanic. Um, but I haven't heard a lot of criticism for it. And I definitely think that, while it's really cool, I think it could do a lot more for the game because, so right now, for example, this is Shaq. And let's say someone's looping you at Shaq. You know, they run Shaq, they run you through here, they jump through the window, you say, oh, they're through the window. And that's loud, it's obvious, you know, they know exactly what you're doing, they run over here, and now Shaq's dead. You have killed Shaq. The map just looks like this now. You know, this God palette has become, you know, an extremely unsafe palette, and it's fine. You know, it shuts down loops, but the way the mechanic currently is that if the killer does it in chase, he's just gonna, you know, it's as if he got pallet stunned. You know, it's really gonna slow him down. And there's essentially no difference between, like, and then at that point, once he does do it, that's just how the map geometry is, you know? So it's like a slight slowdown for the killer, and it just kind of changes the map geometry. There's no real play around it. The play around it is if you're Survivor and if you're doing that, that loop is dead, go somewhere else. You know, you have time. And by the way, I have Brutal Strength. You know, that's literally as fast as you can do it on normal things. Demogorgon and maybe, like, Billy, like, Quick Chainsaw Billy could do it faster. But yeah, so like, in this game, what's going to come down to, someone's going to jump out this window. Oh, I didn't know you could die. Oh, it's the Ment, duh. You know, you're running up the staircase, you're chasing someone, they jump out that window, that's like a God window right now. You stop, you break this. Now the window's pretty garbage, but they're gone. Or at the start of the game, you know, you're pathing to, like, a gen up here, you walk past, you say, oh, this will be useful later, and you stop and you break it. But there's no real, like, play into it or play around it. It's more like, you know, when the killer has time, when it's opportune, just kick the walls. And it's, the way it is right now, it's literally just always beneficial for the killer to kick those walls, unless they're, like, completely useless. Like if there was, like, a wall, like here, I lied, this palette is, like, fairly safe the way it's set up. Maybe that wall will be okay. But, like, it's not, like, a real mechanic. It's not something anyone's, like, playing around or into. It's more like, oh, he hasn't kicked this wall yet, I'm just gonna spam this God loop. Oh, he kicked the wall, now I have time to go somewhere else. You know, I think it's good, though. I think it's good that there's a way to shut down the God loops. I just think it could be better. And, I have two proposed solutions to this, to make it more like actual gameplay. I think it should be, I think the breakable walls should be a resource that the killers have, just like the pallets are a resource the Survivor has. So, let me demonstrate this on Paint. So I already have this nice little diagram up. So, here we have a Blendette in Shaq, doing a gen. She's chilling. This is what Shaq looks like. You know, there's a vault here, pallet here. I realized that in their current setup, they're looking at putting a door here, which I actually don't really like. But imagine if there's a breakable wall right here. And in the current setup, you know, breakable walls are like, oh, he's kicking the breakable wall. You know, I'll just, you know, loop up this way and start, like, running him this way. And it's basically, you know, in this setup, it's basically just Shaq without the long wall. So it's still loopable, it's still a playable thing. But what I propose for the breakable walls is that the killer doesn't stand there and stop and say, okay, I'm breaking the wall, you can run away. What I think the breakable walls should be, because this is a horror game, I think they should be terrifying. I think the killer should just walk through this like it's a piece of paper and just come in and fucking kill you. You know, it's it hides line of sight. You don't know where they're coming from. And I took a little picture of Oni down here, so let's use Oni as an example. So Blendette's sitting on the generator. You know, she's chilling. This Oni's 32 meters away. She doesn't hear him yet. So this Oni, he pops his power way out here. Claudette's like, oh shit, this Oni, he used his super powerful ability. I gotta go blend. So she starts, you know, like, urban evasioning over to this window. But Oni's like, nope, I got this new mechanic. And he immediately just barrels through this wall, runs straight to the window, and maybe she realizes what he's doing. Maybe she realizes it. And she's like, oh shit, he's gonna be right here. So then she, like, maybe she starts making distance this way, but she doesn't make it to anything, really. Like, this is an Oni in power. He cuts her off this way through this wall. She's dead. Oh, well, I mean, she's a Blundette. So she was holding Sprint Burst, you know, she gets around this, blah, 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 I cut her head off. But, you know, this is terrifying. Having killers just, like, and it doesn't even just have to be, like, the Oni charge. That's just an example because it gets, like, the most mechanical use out of it. But you could literally just be, like, M1 Bubba, and it doesn't shut down the shack completely. The current setup makes this pallet, like, an extremely unsafe pallet. It makes this window, you know, situationally useful, but, it's really not impressive. To me, at least. I don't think there's any real gameplay around it. It just kind of turns off the loop. It's just like an off button. But let's say you're a mouse one killer like Bubba. You know, you're walking around, you're patrolling, you hear someone in shack. Like maybe he starts charging up his chainsaw here. Maybe this is like a pro, you know, like meme Bubba, and he has like all the things that muffle his chainsaw or something, and they can't hear. I don't know the range on the chainsaw. I don't play Bubba, but. And he comes through this wall, like, revving his chainsaw, running around. That's terrifying. Just having someone just shatter a wall instantly and run in. Like, this is a horror game. And also, right now, the killers have no real resources. Beyond that, I would even say that if this is just Mouse 1 Bubble, like, he's not trying to chainsaw or anything, I think he should walk through this and immediately get Bloodlust level 1. I think breaking this thing should give you Bloodlust level 1 for, like, up to, like, 5 seconds. And in this setup that I have here, even if he does walk through this, get Bloodlust, if they're, like, expecting, if they're ready for it, they have time to make this window. If you're running through this wall. Like, they still have time for the window. So, I just think it's more interesting this way. If the walls, instead of just being something that, you know, are there, is an actual resource that the killer uses. A second thing that I think might be interesting for gameplay is that, honestly, I think the killer should break the wall a little faster either way, but, than the current. But, so, a second proposal would be if the walls could be rebuilt by survivors. Because then it's not like, oh, the killer walked by shack, well, let me just break this because it's going to be, you know, loopable later. I think the survivor should be able to spend, like, a much longer time. Like, it has to be at least 4 times longer than what the killer spends to break it, to fix it. And I think that would make it more like an interesting decision for the killer, and even an interesting decision for whether or not the survivor wants to, like, waste their time repairing that, if it's something kind of out of the way. At that point, there might need to be a lot more walls like this. I've only seen 2. I've only seen the one at shack and the one at the centerpiece on the saloon map. But, yeah, so those are my interpretations of how this breakable wall mechanic could be more of an interesting feature in the game, as opposed to just something that, like, with more interesting play. Because as of right now, I'm not really impressed. It's kind of like just a down pallet sitting there that the survivors can't vault, or, like, you know, it's not really completely game-changing. And this would be. And, like even, like, someone slow, like tier 1 Mike, just, or like a stealth killer, just like you don't expect anything, and then someone just walks through this wall and just, like, is in shack with you, chasing you already. You know, if you're not, like, fast vaulting this window, you're gonna take a hit, you know. So it's a resource. It's something that killers can use once per game, and I think that's better for the game. All right, that's my interpretation of the new wall mechanic. I think that's how you could improve it. So if anyone wants to have a discussion about that, just maybe we could talk about it in the comments. Let me know. I plan on doing a lot more of these design videos on my channel. So subscribe if you're into that. I don't know. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.